Previously, in the Wistoria, Wand and Sword, we saw that Edward also found out the secret that Will is a warrior after he saved Shaun from evil Sentinel. He was requesting to Cauldron to expel Will from the academy because he's a warrior, plus he's dreaming of becoming Magia Vander, which is the top title for the mages. He was quite adamant about it, so Cauldron gave him permission to test Will and his skills. If Will fails, Edward could kick him out, so Edward was happy and brought Will to test him. The rules were simple, he had to give a single scratch to Edward. It was quite sudden and Edward did not give enough time to Will to prepare, so he was getting beaten up. But Colette came in and gave the sword to Will, and only then he showed what he's capable of and won against Edward. Then as the story continues. In the past when Elfie was leaving, she said she believes in Will because he's brave and kind, and saying so she was ready to bid her farewell, but Will told her to wait for him. He would certainly come after her to fulfill their promise of watching the sunset together, and with that promise in her heart, Elfie said her final goodbye and left to climb the magic tower. At that time Will tells Werkner this will be the last time he would cry. And then we come to the present where Will also does a side job to earn a living, and by doing so he had made some friends in the town as well. But in a hurry he was about to slip down but gathered his things and kicky mid-air. There his attention goes to the news that Elfie invented a new form of magic again, and this counts the 12th magic spell, which makes her the only mage to create 12 magic spells. And along the way there was a job request from Elfie that she needs ice core from Frostwalkers, so Will was happy and returns back to his room where his roommate Rosti was making magic items. He tells this to him, and Rosti reminds him of his classes, but there were no classes, so in this time, Will wants to gather as many ice core as possible before anyone else, and for that, he wants Rosti's magic items. Rosti had a hunch, so he had already made some adjustments to the items, and Will was happy getting the new update, but before leaving, Rosti gives him his lunch. And only then he sends Will with good luck and goodbye. With it he comes down to the 4th floor of the dungeon, and so many students have started to gather the ice core for Elfie, and among them was Shaun, who was also doing this job. But compared to the evil sentinel Will had killed, these Frostwalkers were like kids, and Will saw a raging fire magic from Shaun. So he didn't want to be left behind and decided to go deeper, and comes across a girl being threatened by 3 monsters, so Will quickly and smoothly kills them down. And the girl was shocked seeing he killed such monsters without magic, with only sword. So first she thanked Will for saving her and said her name is Iris. At the same time, Werkner was teaching the class that inventing new magic is an accomplishment in this world that allows the inventor to rapidly advance the magic tower, and if someone does invent their own magic, they have the right to include their name in the spell, such as the spell Edward used against Will, Dax Darbican, which was invented by a person named Dax. So in short, if they invent their own magic, their names will go down in history, which is easier said than done, students thought, so Rose asked that Elfie must be a superb mage because she was in the news today. Superb might be an understatement for Elfie because she's beyond the scope, since she had invented 12 forms of magic and had become the first mage ever to invent this many magic, which makes her the best mage throughout the history. Colette thought how awesome Will's childhood friend is, and recently she issued some order that got whole school on uproar. Rose saw this and thought the young maiden in love is jealous that Elfie is going to snatch away her Will. Colette got shy, and Werkner scolded them for talking. Then we came back to Will. He was going to deeper floor with Iris, and she knew there was an upperclassman who had no talent in magic whatsoever. Iris is in 4th year, so Will asked why isn't she bothered by him. Normally people always looks down on him for being magic-less, but Iris said Will is her savior, so she can't be rude to him. Plus he has his own talent and Iris respects unique talents like him. Will then changed the topic to the job request, and Iris also wanted to become a Magia Vander to hold the sky like them. She spoke the truth. Even to this day humanity doesn't know about the real sky, as a tremendous barrier of Magia Vander cloaks everything, and according to the legends, if this barrier falls, destruction will rain on them, and for that new generation always hopes to become Magia Vander to help support the sky barrier. There Iris says that once upon a time when she was in a dungeon, she was surrounded by monsters, with no hope of life. Elfie came in and saved her in that moment, so she has become a fangirl of her ever since, but ignoring her. Kiki showed the sign to Will that there's a strong Frostwalker in the area, but Iris found nothing with her magic search, which is why Will taught her that magic is not absolute, especially not in dungeon, and although he lacks magic his experience makes up for it. And Will was right on the money. A giant frost Rex was right there, so he asked Iris to stay out of the way. But physical attacks are useless on Ice Rex, as everything it touches becomes ice. But for times like this he had the magic items, Will jumps into the fight with Ice Rex, avoiding its ice ray. He gets close enough to hook the bomb onto it, so Ice Rex started attacking randomly and avoiding all of its attack. Will wraps the Rex in the steel strings and ignites the ends. Because Ice Rex is weak to fire and he exploded the thing, knowing that in one, Iris was shocked. But now she was confused as to how she should report this about Will, because even with no talent, he was skilled. So just as she returned back to the surface, she went to the magic tower thinking how skilled Will was without magic. There she met all the Magia Vander of this generation, and Elfie was among them. They were in the middle of a discussion about the world's end if barrier gets broken, because celestial hosts are eyeing for that, and with their numbers, even Magia Vander would have a hard time saving the world, which is why they are searching for promising seedlings. So Zeo asked her about the search and Iris said she found an interesting one. He can't use magic but he's skilled, so in her opinion Will Serfort should get a place in the magic tower. But 2 out of 4 were against it. Eleanor doesn't want useless pricks as she had enough on her end, but Zeo thinks they should get anyone who's useful, so Carriot suggested there's Grand Magic Festival coming. So they should decide, seeing the results, convincing enough excuse, so everyone left, and Iris told Elfie that Will is just as she had described. And Elfie was happy and was still waiting for Will even to this day. And right here, our video ends for today. By the way, if you haven't watched the previous episodes, the playlist link is in the description. Please go there to watch episode 2 to understand the storyline perfectly, and if you watched the previous episodes, then like the video and subscribe the channel to support me. Until next time.